Let's see here. Looks like the audio is working. Get into our repo here. Should probably just open this up. So this is the repo for, I guess, the code that, or the repo that I'm going to be working with. It does a couple of things. It's published on NPM, so you can use it. The things that it does are basically around ejection right now. So there's an inquirer prompt. It'll ask you what theme you're trying to eject from. When you choose a theme, it'll list all of the components in that theme, and then it'll let you choose whether you want to copy that and shadow it, or you want to import it and extend it. And we'll create you a new file for that while doing some relative path rewriting. So yeah, that's all well and good. We'll probably split this code out into its own thing today. And then the other thing that I want to do, I guess the first thing we can do is test to see if local themes are working, because themes are now plugins. So if we, let's do, I don't know. There's a new, I don't know if it's published yet, so I'll use my own. Gatsby starter theme. So I'll just take this and put it in here, into my theme, which I probably already have done because I tested this earlier. We'll call it my local theme. And this is creating a Yarn workspace setup so that I can do some theme development. I actually don't want a workspace setup, so I'm going to modify everything. But this will pull down like the latest Gatsby and save me a bit of typing and stuff like that. Update available for Gatsby CLI. Okay, well, I should probably do that at some point since it's 1.1.31. And in the meantime, I'll open this up in code. So the thing that I want to try to do today is enable the creation of child themes more easily. But what I want to do is actually enable that through a pattern where you specify the theme that you want to use as or make a child theme of, and that will dump it into your local plugins directory so that you can work on it. And yeah, so the first step there is making sure that local themes work. Because themes are now plugins, they should, but you know, it has not been a suggested workflow for a while. So, because the other thing that we could do is detect if we're in a Yarn workspace, but that's a little bit more finicky, because if somebody's in a Gatsby site, they're not necessarily going to be in a Yarn workspace. So this is my local theme. I need to move, so our theme is Gatsby theme minimal. It doesn't do anything. It's got basically nothing in it. And then the example site, I believe, has like one page in it. Yeah, so it has an index.js, which is the root path. So what we're going to do here is go into the example site, or actually we're going to move Gatsby theme minimal into the example site at, I think it's plugins is the right path for this. So just move it over. In our package.json, we're going to remove some of the workspace code. So now we technically have a workspace of one package. the Gatsby config in, let's make this all the way big. The Gatsby config in our site, our example site, still uses Gatsby theme minimal, which is fine because it's still called Gatsby theme minimal. It's just now in plugins. So let's get this started and see if it works. Let's switch file. Oh, right, because it's still a dependency, so we can't do the install. So in package.json, not in Gatsby theme minimal though. In our example site, we're going to remove the dependency on Gatsby theme minimal because it's no longer a separate package. We'll do the yarn dance. Is it still a dependency somewhere? Did I mess something up? Workspaces example, package.json, not here, package.json, not here. That's all fine and well and good. We've got the index.js, that's a no-op. Got the Gatsby config that does nothing. Let's take it out of the example Gatsby config. Let's see if that's our issue. Well, it's actually happening when yarn runs, so it's not actually the issue. Let's do RMRF node modules. Because I think the issue was actually it was symlinked into node modules from the workspace, and when I moved it, it deleted the symlink, but not, well, it deleted the files at the location of the symlink and not the symlink itself, so it was still looking for it. Cool, let's do yarn workspace, example, develop. And hopefully this doesn't blow up, but if it does, we can do some debugging. Okay, so we have a site. It does nothing, which is great because that's exactly what we want it to do right now. And then, I guess, what do we do in here? We can add some plugins, make sure that that works. We'll do Gatsby plugin MDX. And maybe like Gatsby source file system. Or we'll just do Gatsby plugin MDX for now. So in our site, we're going to do yarn workspace example, add Gatsby plugin MDX. And then we'll run the site again. Let's make sure my audio is working here. Actually. Cool, so that works. There's no files in it yet, so we won't see anything interesting here. But that's fine. Okay, so that works. So we can eject a theme into a local plugin. So let's work on the code to get that done then. So inside of Gatsby theme, we have the CLI folder or file, which is where all of our interesting like ejection logic is. And we're going to want to take this and move it somewhere else. We're probably going to want Inquirer to do something before this, but we can just sort of move this into a separate. We're going to rename this to CLI ejection. Well, let's not. Let's actually do this the right way and actually create a full CLI. So let's go look at the Inquirer docs. And really what I want is subcommands. So I want a Gatsby theme new, or a Gatsby theme, yeah, I guess new is a good one. Gatsby theme new child. Like Gatsby theme new child theme, and then like the name of the theme, right? Like Gatsby theme blog. So this is what I want to be able to do, and I want that to be able to take Gatsby theme blog, stick it in the local plugins directory, and set everything up for me so that this actually works. I don't know if this is... I don't think Inquirer is what we want here. I think we need something on top of Inquirer. Yeah, this is just the interactive part. We need the... Hey, how's it going, man? Like this is just the prompting, so we can spin off an Inquirer whenever we do each subcommand, but we need the, I guess, commander. Node.js commander versus... Nope, nobody else does anything. So let's use TJ's commander. So that means we can add commander, and this should be able to give us subcommands, right? Yeah, so this is what we want right here. So what we're gonna do here is rename the CLA. Ready for this storm. Oh, what storm is coming to you? I guess it's like tornado season out there, isn't it? Or something like that. I don't know. My weather pattern knowledge is not great. Barry. Is it... I really want to make like a Barry's boot camp joke. Tropical storm, hurricane. I guess it's a tropical storm right now, but it won't be when it hits. I don't know. Barry from Archer. That's funny too. Yeah. Okay, so let's do yarn. Is this a workspace? Did I set it up as a workspace? I always forget everything. SB theme add commander. While that's doing that, we'll go over here and we'll rename the CLI as the police bear down on my apartment. So this will get renamed to ejection, I guess. Come out with your hands up. Barry's boot camp is now sending the police after me. So we need a new file here that's called CLI.js now, because we don't have the old one. We're just going to copy and paste this because, yeah, we don't really need anything complicated. So this is from what I tested before this code pane, which is just local themes, which has historically not been a thing that works. But when we moved it to plugins, they actually did. So let's do eject. Is this other one? Yeah. We'll call this one eject. I guess this needs to be like module.exports equals some function, and then it runs Inquirer for us. here. So up here we will const eject equals require eject. I don't know. Actually, this doesn't tell me how to attach functions to handle that. I'm building a CLI to work with themes. So I don't think I have a GIF of it right now, but in past streams, so I've been working on this for a couple of streams now. Actually, I have this in my blog, so we can go over there and I can show what this actually does. We'll get rid of all the extra stuff. So if I do yarn workspace www, and then the binary is called Gatsby theme, and if I just run it, it asks me a couple things. In this case, I'll go to Gatsby theme blog. Gatsby theme blog has a couple of different files that we can shadow. In this case, I will shadow the post, and then you can choose whether to copy or extend it. In this case, I'll just copy it. I guess I left the console logs in there, which I should get rid of. So that's good to know. But then that means that I just shadowed this file out, which I happen to already have shadowed in my blog, so that's why it looks modified. But that is the, that's the interface to shadowing that I am building. And it's just like this binary is just a bunch of different potential useful things for working with themes. So, yeah. It's very early stage, very experimental and whatnot, but it works. I used it on my blog the other day to inject something, so. Let's go back to the commander stuff. This is, when .command is invoked with the description argument, no action callback should be called to handle subcommands, otherwise there will be an error. Tells commander that you're going to use separate executables for subcommands, much like Git and other popular tools. Commander will try to search the executables in the directory of the entry script. Ooh. That's magical. Okay, so we need to name this file something specific. And we need to set them up as being individual commands. Okay, so we actually don't need to export the stuff from this because this is just going to be its own thing here. And I guess we don't need to import it because we don't need to export it. And then this will, I guess, look for eject. I don't know how it looks for the file name here. So we aren't, I guess it looks for the thing based on the name of the executable, which is interesting. Okay, so it will try to search the executables in the directory of the entry script, like /examples pm with the name program command, like pm install, pm search. Where does it get the program name? You can't name the program, you have to name it by... Huh. Interesting. Okay, so it will be... I'm assuming since we called it Gatsby theme as a CLI name, it will look for Gatsby theme eject. Does that sound right? I don't know, it's been a long time since I've used Commander. Okay, so we have eject, and we also need new, I guess, because we're going to do Gatsby theme new child theme. And then we'll get rid of this one. eject doesn't take any arguments. New takes, I guess well, we don't need to worry about that for now. Let's just run this and see if it does something. Do I have an example project here? Yeah. Yarn, workspace, test site, Gatsby theme. And it should like throw an error or something, right? Permission denied. Gatsby theme CLI.js. So I'm adding the executable permission to the CLI.js file. And that should fix our error. Which it did, but it also did not. There's some other things that we need to do here. So we have the hashbang, or I always forget what this is called. It's not the hashbang, it's the, I don't know, whatever. In any case, that means that we run in a node environment instead of like a bash or a bin environment or something. So now we have Gatsby theme options command. The commands are eject, new, or help. So eject fails because Gatsby theme eject does not exist. Let's see if we can rename this file and if it will work. Cool. So this seems like, okay, so there's a bug in that. If you don't have any files, it doesn't let you do anything. Okay, so that's what we need to do here. And then we need a Gatsby theme, I guess Gatsby theme new would be the next file that we need. And we'll populate this with the same hashbang. And we do want inquirer because we're going to ask you basically, we're going to skip all of like the command line arguments. We're just going to ask you what you want every time. So let's just take this and we'll delete a bunch of it. So this is the shadowing code. Goes up to here, I think. That's all the results that we get. I don't know if we're going to have any results here. These are lists of things. I think these are fine. And this question will be, I don't know, what theme are you trying to child theme? I guess what parent theme are you trying to child theme? That might be a good way to phrase that. And we could do the same thing we're doing here, where we read in the Gatsby config, get the plugins list, and then look for themes. Sort by unique. Let's do filter. Starts with theme. Actually, I don't know if this will let us type in our own value. So basically, we want to ask a question, right? Which is what inquirer does. And what we actually need is Okay, so there's a list here. What we want is a list and or a custom option, right? Because you should be able to child theme any random thing. This is a raw list. This is expand. What is expand? Take type, name, message choices, default properties. Okay, so I guess this is... That looks like a list to me. That looks like the same as list with a slightly different presentation. So there's checkbox. Checkbox is not what we want. Confirm. Confirm is not what we want either. Type. Although confirm is something we could use in ejection to make sure, like, hey, are you sure that you want to do this? Because it doesn't handle files that already exist yet. This is an input, so input could be useful. Password is not. And then editor is also not what we want. Okay, so let's do input. Right? And instead of doing type main message, instead of doing this, because there is no thing here, we'll do this. This will be input. And then I think we need a transformer here because I saw that there was a transformer option. I don't know what the transformer option does, but I do know that anything that we type in here we want to be lowercase. The transformation only... Interesting. So if that isn't actually going to do what I thought it was going to do. Name, property. Okay, so we're going to get the input out as a string. This is just, so the transformer is just to display to the user, which we don't really care about. So let's go back to our code. And we'll say that we don't need this transformer because it doesn't do what I thought it was going to do. And then I think we have an extra bracket here somewhere. There we go. And then we'll test this out. Gatsby theme blog, right? And then, yeah, so we get the answer there. That's dope. It would be cool if we could reach out to NPM, I guess, and like pull down a list of Gatsby themes, which I think we could actually do. And then we could fall back, like if the request fails, we could fall back to, I guess you need an internet connection if you're going to eject. Well, you don't need one actually, technically speaking. If you have a local theme that you're trying to child theme, then you don't actually need to do that. So the fallback will just be you have to type it in manually. But yeah, it would be cool to go out and get a list of, let's see, npm client or something like that, right? I don't really want a registry client. What I want is to be able to search npm and get a list of packages. Well, which I guess is a registry client, right? But when I hear registry client, what I hear is can download and upload from the registry. Does Yarn have an API? Oop. Is yarn package down? Well, I guess we're not looking at the yarn docs today. Cloudflare having more issues. So, well, we're not going to use yarn because there's something wrong there. So let's try to look at this. There's no really like, there's published, there's a request here. I guess this is an API for the local client. Yeah, okay, so this is not really, like we were looking for something higher level than this. Research. Hey Johnny, how's it going? Get a list of NPM packages with a certain keyword. Yes, that is exactly what we want. Syndrasaurus wins again. Okay, so I think we're telling people to use the Gatsby Themes keyword when they publish. If we look at plugins, Gatsby theme. There's a bunch of themes now. Dang. Where's the package JSON for this? Of course, it's in the Gatsby repo. Duh. Come on, be plugin on GitHub. You can do it. Oh no, it doesn't have the right... well, that stinks. Nice, nice. What kind of white wine is it? Okay, so if we go into themes here, and we check out Gatsby theme blog, and we check out the package JSON, and we look for keywords. So Gatsby theme is a valid keyword for us to do this with. We'll dump npm keyword here. Homemade. Wow. That's dope. I wish I knew how to do that. Well, I should say. I wish I knew how to do that more than just throwing grapes in a barrel and being like, hey, I have wine now. Please drink and don't die. Cool, so this is basically what we're going to do here. So yeah, instead of making this an input, let's go back to making this a list. And really what I want is like a list input, but whatever. Because actually you have to choose like a theme to do this, so I think this is fine. Choices is an async function, because I believe that works. I believe that we did tested that last time. Themes. Possible themes equals goal plugin Gatsby theme. We'll just log this out because I don't know what the return type of this is. It has a kick to it. Nice. I feel like homemade stuff always has that kick to it, you know? Oh, it looks like these names come in, so that would be... Oh, it's dot names? Yeah, we should do that. Dot names. So we don't even need this. We can just return that. And then let's try this again. Well, first of all, let's add... Is it npm keyword? Let's do it now. Now it has to hit the internet, but now it also gives us all of these themes that we can child theme. That's so cool. That looks like a bigger list than the one on the website. I don't know what theme that is. Osidnoskfi. Somebody's making a Gatsby joke with this West Egg core theme. That's cool. Anyway. So now we call out to npm for the Gatsby theme keywords. We get the list of possible Gatsby themes, pull it back in, which is dope. Okay, so now we've chosen one, and now we need to do something with it. So if we look at Gatsby theme eject, how do we find the root location that we are going to write this into? We use process to current working directory. Okay, so let's get make derp in here because we want to make sure that this directory works. I think we'll, path.join here. So we need to make this, plugins. Oh, we need a name for the child theme. So we need some input here. Type inputs, name, child, theme name, message. What would you like to call your child theme? Cool. So that should get us that too. And then in here we will have child theme name. And we should probably slugify this, but I'm just going to say, like, if you type something that is not a valid, like, theme name, it won't work. And we will make derp.sync, I think is the thing here, and we need to add that package as well. So let's see if this works. Watch the stream, you and Jason Langsdorff, and you did today while I was starting dinner, and you guys did open up a whole new spectrum to the whole theme subject. Congrats on that. Thank you. Yeah, that was something we were talking about on Twitter a couple months ago, and we've been looking forward to doing that actual, you know, if I can find Gatsby theme blog here. Oh, we'll do Gatsby theme shop. Path is not defined. Okay, that's good. Yeah, we've been looking forward to doing that stream for a while. And then when everybody like got all up in arms on Twitter around micro front ends, it was kind of funny because we knew we were going to do this stream, but we also weren't going to call it micro front ends. We were just going to be like, hey, this could be a cool pattern that you can use. Because this is that pattern that like micro front ends, like Gatsby as the orchestrator of them pattern. While I wouldn't suggest just like going wild and doing like different frameworks for every like micro whatever framework or whatever you want to call it, or every subsection, it's actually a really powerful pattern that I was trying to get us to do with Docker when we had a bunch of different properties. So the pattern itself is really powerful, even if you're just staying with Gatsby themes and React and whatnot. Okay, make derp sync, path join, process current working directory, plugins, child theme name. It included path now. So now we have nothing. It did not make derp, did it? So let's go look make derp. Oh, make derp dir. That's fine. Let's take a look at this. Let's log this out. Then we'll console.log plugins theme path. And make derp will also use plugins theme path, even though it's not quite working yet. Cool. We're also going to have to create a Gatsby config in there and a package JSON, so we'll get to do a little bit more. But this directory, I don't think that exists, does it? It does. There's just nothing in it, and that's why Git isn't telling me about it. That's fine. Test site, plugins, my theme, cool. Test site, plugins, Gatsby theme things, cool. Let's just rmrf this directory. Let's add this stuff and the Gatsby theme to Git. Initiate under subcommands. Cool. So now we have a place to put our stuff. And what we want to do here is write out a file. So fs, not false. Fs, no, not false. Jeez. How do I? Okay. I guess I'll import it first so that VS Code stops yelling at me. It's fs.write file sync, and we're going to write out path.join plugins theme path, and then Gatsby config.js. And the content is going to be module.exports equals the object plugins. The plugins are going to use the theme. I guess we can call this theme name, but I don't know. Should we add options here by default? Or should it just be the name of the theme? Anyway. So this will write out Gatsby config for us. And then we also need to write out a package JSON. And this will be just the JSON stuff. And then we'll need a name, and the name will be the child theme name. Actually, let's do this instead. We'll do json.stringify object null 2 And here we'll just do name, child theme name, and it'll make it a little cleaner for us to write and read. 1 to 0 to 0. We'll get rid of this old stuff that we had. Okay, so now we should have a Gatsby config and a package JSON whenever we shadow a, or not whenever we shadow, but whenever we try to child theme a theme. Bum, bum, bum. New. Okay. Let's do Dustin's theme, Gatsby Theme Workshop. We'll call our theme Gatsby Theme My Workshop. And let's look at test site. We'll look at plugins, which is a directory that didn't exist before. Gatsby Theme My Workshop, and we have these two. We have Gatsby config, which is, we should probably run through Prettier or something before we dump that out. And then package.json, which does the same thing. Cool. So I think that works. We also need to touch an index.js file, just because that is a thing that plugins need. So we'll automatically add that for someone. And it'll just be nothing, basically. Cool. So that gets us Gatsby config, a package JSON, and a plugins theme path. I think that gets us everything that we need to sort of like create child themes locally, and then we can start using the eject functionality. I guess that brings up an interesting point of contention for the eject functionality, in that the eject functionality is now no longer just for the root site. It can also be executed on into like a local plugins directory. So I wonder how we deal with that the best. One thing I do want to do is this input, I want to add a Gatsby theme prefix to it. So it does inquire or support prefixes. Change the default prefix message. I think that's just a message. Yeah. All right, let's see if there are third-party inputs that will help us with this. So there's autocomplete. Will this autocomplete go from the beginning? Or will this autocomplete be able to search from the middle? Because I want to just type blog, not Gatsby theme blog, right? Doesn't look like it, so that's fine. Checkbox plus. Nope. Date time. Customizable date time selector. Actually, this checkbox could be useful because you could child theme two themes at the same time. Oh, that notification is really loud. Thanks, Zaki, for the follow. Appreciate it. Yeah, so checkbox plus could be useful, or the checkbox for selecting multiple themes and doing a single child theme of multiple themes. Inquire select line is not what we want. Command is not what we want. Fuzzy path is not what we want. Emoji, everybody loves emoji, I guess, but not what we want. Searchable inquirer checkbox. The little automation is turning really cool with this tool. Yeah. I think we're still in the experimental, like, testing things out phase, but and I think there's going to be a lot of edge cases that we're going to have to fill in and work with. But I think a lot of the automation here is really going to be important for themes long term. Acquire auto submit prompt. Saving one extra enter. No, I think I'm good. I think I want my users to, actually want to enter. File tree selection prompt. That's interesting. What is this? That's cool. I wonder if we can use that for our component injection instead. What I really want is this file tree selection prompt, but I want it done with a searchable input. So I want to be able to type like header, and I want it to go to the header.js file inside of source components header and suggest that to me. So it looks like out of all of this, we're going to have to end up writing our own input for that kind of stuff. So maybe I'll do that on a different stream. But yeah, it doesn't look like we have anything here that we really want. Where's checkbox? Type, name, message, choices. What do you think choices is? Default is expected to be an array of the checked choices value. Choose whose property disabled as truthy will be unselectable. Okay, so choices should be like, this should be a checkbox. I don't know if that'll just work out of the box. That would be really cool if it did. But I want to make sure that we do this with multiple themes by default to start with, so we don't have to add it later. Space that, space that. So I think that works, and then hit enter, and then whatever, and then it does the thing. Has site plugins, and then there's this, and it doesn't have the extra. I guess it does have a comma there, but it's not exactly what we want here. So where are we? When we go to write Gatsby config, what we actually want here is theme.map. I guess this should be called themes at this point, right? So let's do that first. Themes, themes, themes. Themes.map, theme, and then we return theme, right? That is not going to work, actually. So what we need is this plus theme plus this. I think that will work. So we're inside of the template string. We might need to escape these two because they are technically ending the template string, I think. Oh, actually they're in quotes. We don't need to. One question regarding the code on the stream you guys did earlier. To generate the client-side routing you guys did you need both Gatsby plugin create client paths and Gatsby plugin page creator to create the paths and pages, emulating the micro front end, or you can get away with only Gatsby plugin create client paths, for instance? So the reason that we're using the page creator plugin is because you do need a page to serve if somebody goes to that page, right? Like, there still needs to be like a React component or something that you can use to render content. And the Gatsby plugin page creator will be automatically included for all themes in the future, but is not currently automatically included. So you really only need Gatsby plugin create client paths, but you do need a page with which to tell Gatsby what to render there, if that makes sense. So let's try this again. Let's do some more. Let's do Gatsby theme material UI with West Egg. Many children. We'll do this. We'll do Gatsby theme many children. Gatsby config. I did forget one thing, and that's that we need the version in the package JSON of the. Actually, we won't touch the package JSONs, I guess, for now. Because the logic there is that we have to check the root package JSON, we have to check the package JSON of the site that we're in, etc. So I don't know that we want to modify the package JSON. But here's the multiple plugins. So we've got Gatsby theme material UI and Gatsby theme West Egg style, both being used, which is exactly what we want. So let's do an RMRF of plugins again, since we don't really need that. And I think this is okay for ejecting right now, because then we can just start shadowing stuff. And I think that the shadowing will work. I haven't actually tested that the shadowing will work, but I think the shadowing will work. So let me take this and commit it and publish it and see if it works in my blog. If I can choose a version. There we go. Let's get push tags. And now what we can do is I will take this and go over to my blog. I will upgrade that binary to whatever the latest is, 004. And I actually don't know what theme I'm going to use here, because I don't know what half of these themes do when I look at them. But we can do yarn workspace www Gatsby theme new, and that will give us a choice of a bunch of random themes. I don't know which one of these to use because I'm already using Gatsby theme log and Gatsby theme notes, so I don't really need to child theme either of those. There's a Gatsby theme jam example, which I think is a child theme itself, so that would be child theming a child theme. This obviously uses Sanity.io, which I don't want to get involved with right now. Pedro shipped his own Gatsby theme blog. Which one of these do you think I can use and not blow up? Let's try Gatsby theme resume. I have no idea what this will do. Gatsby theme awesome resume. So let's go try to find Gatsby theme resume on npm and see what it does. The smallest possible Gatsby theme. Oh, this is somebody that took my original workspaces and then maybe didn't do anything after that because there's no Git repo on it. So let's go look at a bunch of themes and see which one we should do. Let's see. Max did a blog theme, workshop theme, Gatsby theme for smooth code documentation site, Powerboard. I don't know what Powerboard is. Oh, Powerboard is the person's username. West Egg. Gatsby theme document. Let's do Gatsby theme documentation. I know that John does some good work, so. Query into individual documents. Okay, so these are docs. I know that he sort of copied over the stuff that's in Gatsby theme blog for this, so it should be okay. I don't know. So base and dark. Let's look at the dark starter. Says that all we need to do is use Gatsby theme documentation, so let's just dump it in here and see what happens. Let's get rid of this one because it didn't seem like it actually has much in it. I'm gonna commit this because I can upgrade whenever. And then I'll go back and I'll do a Gatsby theme again. So I'm doing a Gatsby theme new, and I'm looking for Gatsby theme documentation. Theme my docs. Okay. This should probably modify my Gatsby config to use it as well. So I think there's a bunch of automation here, or a bunch of opportunity for automation, but we have to sort of know which one to use. So let me make sure that this is installed first. So www plugins, Gatsby theme my docs, right? And then this is Gatsby config. Gatsby config didn't have anything in it. That's not supposed to happen. Oh, you know why? Because I hit enter without hitting space. Oh man, I'm so silly. So let's do this again. That's a good user experience note though. The checkboxes, you cannot just go down and hit enter. You have to go down, select, and then hit enter. So we should check for that. And then now we have Gatsby theme documentation. Okay, that's good. So let's open this up. I'm going to add Gatsby theme my docs to my plugins list in my Gatsby site. And now, just to be fully transparent, I don't know that this theme is actually going to work, because I believe this is meant as a standalone theme, but we'll see. I also don't know what pages this theme creates, and I already have a lot of pages, so don't know. We'll see. But the CLI worked. So I guess we need to... Let's dump out some documentation at the end of the CLI too while this runs. Let's do... So Gatsby theme new. This all happens, and then console.log success. New plugin in find your new child theme. Find your new child theme in what's the path? Plugins theme path. Yeah. So find your new child theme in wherever. Forget to add any dependencies to your project. And add don't forget to, and then we'll do like 1, adding dependencies to your project, such as parent themes. And we can probably just dump those out here if we want to. Actually, let's break this up, yeah. If we break this up, then we get more opportunity to do this. Themes. Always nice to break things on live TV. Yes, definitely. For each... Okay, that was some weird stuff. Themes up for each theme. And then console.log. We want I too. So we want the theme. We also want the index, because what we're going to do here is I dot and then theme. So these are the list of dependencies that we'll have, and then 2 is going to be and these need to be like tab spaced over. And then step 2, what did I say step 2 was? Oh, yeah. Add our new theme to your site's Gatsby config. And this we can do, what's the theme name? Child theme name? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that'll give us a little bit nicer output, such that when people go to use this, after I've told them not to, because I'm coding this live on stream, they will see some output and know what to do next. So let's go find out what happened to my site. And it looks like basically nothing happened. So let's go look at this starter. And it looks like there's a docs directory here that I have to put MDX files in. So that's cool. Let's go check out readme.mdx and just dump it in, right? So here, in www, we need a docs directory. Inside of docs, we can paste that content into readme.md. We'll well, he has lowercase readme.mdx, so I'm going to use the same things that he has. If we look at readme.mdx, now it has stuff in it. Let's copy and paste one of these other files as well. Just so that we can get the full experience here. And then hello world is also there. Cool. So let's back out of this and let's do this again. And I'm expecting now to have a couple more pages. I don't know. So it's possible that the readme.mdx is going to get stuck at the root of my site. So they might conflict, which is okay. We can live with that. Still only 115 pages, though. I think that's what we had last time, right? $115 pages, yeah. So it looks like it either didn't pick up or I did something wrong. It's much more likely that I did something wrong. Gatsby theme documentation uses a sidebar. Yep. Header, yep. Components, yep. Documents rendered, indirectisms, readme. Yep. Doc schema. So actually we could go to the GraphQL and see if there's like an all docs here. It doesn't look like there is. So maybe I put the files in the wrong directory. Let's look at the code. So the Gatsby config for the theme. Oh, nope, that's the actual theme being documented by itself. That's funny. Okay, so meta redirect, theme UI, React helmet, redirects, MDX, and content path. Okay, content path is docs. I feel like that should work. So I wonder if it's getting used. So let's do this. This will have a lot of component shadowing output, so we probably want to get rid of that. But what I wanted was that list. Gatsby theme blog notes my docs. There's my docs. So Gatsby theme my docs is here. The theme config is undefined and the theme dir is undefined. The theme dir being undefined seems problematic, so there might actually be a bug that means that we can't do local themes here. So that's okay, I suppose. Because we can always require a workspace, but I don't know. That seems like a less stellar user experience. Let's go find out where the theme dir is being lost. So packages, Gatsby, source. I bet you it's in Bootstrap. Index. Load themes will be the bigger thing. Actually, the log is coming from the component shadowing plugin, I think, if I remember correctly. Where's the Gatsby load theme? So it's coming from load themes here. And if I remember correctly, there was a recent change for local. So require.resolve throws in the local plugin case. So it just gets rid of theme dir and doesn't use it. So let's do some diving into this code and do a little bit of node module spelunking and modification. So in here, we'll go into Gatsby, if we can find it, in this giant list. We'll go into dist. We'll go into bootstrap. We'll go into load themes, index. So now we're in the same file that we were just looking at on the internet. And the thing that needs to be quote unquote fixed is this local plugin thing. So it says that require resolve will throw, which is interesting. So let's console.log e here. Let's get rid of Gatsby star now that we know what's going on. Yeah, cannot find module Gatsby theme docs. So require.resolve, because Gatsby has special support for the local plugins directory, require.resolve doesn't find it. So if we want to support local themes, what we need to do is test to see if exists. How do I say exists? fs dot. I thought it was exists, but I guess fs isn't imported in here right now. And require.resolve works better for this anyway. Huh. So maybe what we do here is console.log path.dir_name require.resolve, and then we do / whatever, right? There's theme name, and we do /plugins / theme name. That doesn't feel like it'll work, but let's test it out. Cannot find module plugins because that's going / from load themes. So let's do that. That's an ugly way to do that, but I think it'll work. Right, we need one more slash. Cannot find module Gatsby theme my docs. And this one is coming from, I don't know, because Bluebird swallows everything. Okay, resolve theme. Load theme index 22, so it comes from here, which is fine. So we're still logging this out. So let's get rid of that so that we don't mistake something there for an error. And I think all we need to do is take this and do const equals this, right? Because this is themed-er, that's themed-er. So this early termination is probably not what we want generally, right? What we want is to get rid of this, and we want themed-er to be that, and then everything can continue as normal, I believe. Or not, or it's gonna break. So let's see. www plugins Gatsby theme documentation. Right, because I didn't add it to my site. Not everybody will know that, so, you know, I guess we could do something additionally to warn about that. If we decide that we want to actually support local plugins, then, or local themes, I guess we have to now that plugins are themes and the same thing. Because if we don't, then it's going to be confusing for people who try to develop plugins. And they're like, hey, let me add a Gatsby config, and then suddenly it doesn't work. So I guess we have to support local themes now. Unknown field docs on type query. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. I think that the code that we wrote here with the themedir is good. Did I just accidentally move that? No. Okay, so let's see. Did I just undo that? Because that's what I wanted to do. Okay, cool. Save that. Gatsby theme documentation is not compatible with your Gatsby version. Okay, I know that John just published this like yesterday, so that's weird. That's the starter, so we have to go back to the actual code. Here's the code. In package.json, is it like locked to a very specific version of Gatsby? Yes. So it's locked to 2.13.18, so we can ignore that. Cool, cool. The other thing that we need to do is actually add some configuration here. So you see this MDX right here. We're just going to say MDX false. That's just a quirk of working with multiple themes that all use the same transformers. And we'll go into our plugin actually and do that. I do wonder if we should do pass-through configuration by default, but it's not a big deal for us for now. We'll just do this in plugins since we're just testing this out and making sure it works. Gatsby config. This will be resolve. Options. VX false. And then we need one more bracket. So that should make it so that it works. So far, so good. And we get 116 pages. That's good. That's what we're looking for. So it looks like we got the pages. Let's do localhost 8000. I don't know what URL to go to here. Also, I think that there are some incompatible differences with this theme and the configuration that I have set up personally. So let's take a look at the actual theme itself. Extensions, remark plugins. So remark slug and remark emoji I don't think are super important. Theme UI and React Helmet, meta directs and redirects are fine. The index does nothing. The Gatsby node probably just does a bunch of page creation. Yep. Nice to see my resolver pass-through code copied out from the official theme. I was just saying to John the other day, I wonder how far that's going to travel. How many people are going to copy and paste that exact code. So on create node is readme is index path. I think that this is just going to create... Yeah, all this does is test for MDX. And the source equals content path. Perfect. That's good. I don't know how this path is being created. To original docs path. Base dir node name. To docs path. Base dir is index. So maybe this is just slash docs. I don't actually know. So let's try. Or yeah, okay, cool. So this is the theme that we just installed and configured via the CLI. I think there are other things, right? Like there are some. This is definitely not a smooth user experience. There's a bunch of stuff that happens. There's a bunch of stuff that potentially conflicts, and this is part of the reason that we're trying to automate documentation around themes and stuff like that. But typically, if you're selecting a theme that you are going to create a child theme from, you will actually know something about the theme, as opposed to what I was just doing, which is like, let's choose a random theme and see if it works. So overall, I think I'm pretty happy with the way that this turned out. Let's see, not local theme. Where are we? Let's see, the changes I had to make to my site to get this to work are installing the theme in my Gatsby config and installing the dependency Gatsby theme documentation, which is the parent theme. And that was it. So that's pretty dope, because those two things are automatable. So we can get this to a point where you don't actually have to do anything. The big problem that we ran into was that the path resolution for local plugins doesn't necessarily work for themes. So we'll need to look into that or fix that if we want to continue down this path. So I'll do one more publish of the CLI tool, because I think that these changes are useful. Right, so, and this would be, I don't know, maybe this, Gatsby theme, whatever. And now we get these to success, find your new theme at here, which it is. Add any dependencies. We're 0 indexed here apparently, so whatever. And then add your new theme. So these two steps can be automated, which I'm pretty happy about, even though they're manual right now. And yeah, I think that overall, this was a good day. Add UX logs to new child theme command. And I think that making local themes work is going to have to be something that we do. I think that there are a number of different ways to create a child theme. So if you're sort of not in a Gatsby site, we should set up a workspace for you and do all of that. If you are in a Gatsby site, we should allow you to choose where to put the theme, which we can probably narrow down to either the plugins directory locally or a workspace. All of that is automatable, and we can inform the user as to which choice they should be making. But yeah, so I think that's it for the stream for today. We got automated child theming scaffolding working. There's a couple bugs and a couple like really rough edges, but it works. And we just proved that on my blog, which we just used a theme on. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, so thanks for everybody for hanging out today. I'll be back on Monday at 2 at my usual time. And yeah, see you later.